So, hello everyone, today I want to do a review about, I think, one of the best anime this year, one of the best anime this season, of course, Skip to Loafer. It's a slice of life anime, and I say easily the best slice of life anime this year. Today, of course, is the final episode. So if you like the review, please subscribe, and let's talk about Skip to Loafer. So, Skip to Loafer, right, is about this girl, I guess we call her country bumpkin, coming to the big city, right, coming to Tokyo. And she's socially awkward, and it's like really great, like rom-com, like romantic comedy, right? But I think this anime, as I said earlier, is easily one of the best anime this year, and again, then the best slice of life anime easily. Slice of life is kind of like the, people who's living a normal life, right? They have no powers. They might have powers, but usually slice of life is a genre about just people who's living a life, right? One of the earliest slice of life I liked as a kid was Genshiken, about the guys who's like watching anime and playing games or whatever, right? Then they just go to convention or whatever, right? In this anime instead, it's about, a little more, I guess, main storyline, romance and so on. But still, it's basically just like, people going into school, right? That's kind of sort of life. So, now why is Skip to Loafer the best sort of life this year, right? Or at least so far this year, right? First of all, I think the best sort of life you've seen before this is Butch the Rock. But I really want to point it out here, right? And I compared to Butch the Rock here. I assume most people see Butch the Rock. And I like Butch the Rock too, but Butch the Rock, right, is about a girl with extreme social anxiety. And I can see a lot of people are going to compare Skip to Loafer to Butchie. But I don't think it's the same thing, right? This is what I really put out there. I like Butchie, but I also like Hitori Butchie, another anime. Sendu Girl, Comedy San, all these different animes with socially anxiety girls. And certainly the main character, Skip to Loafer, is also socially, like, awkward or whatever. But she's actually hesitant to society. If anything, she's kind of an extrovert. She's just kind of clumsy because she's like a country bumpkin, right? And this actually, I think, is much more realistic, where she's just like, oh, I just, Tokyo, people, friendship, She's just kind of terrible at it. But that also brings us to one of the beauty of this show, because while the main character then is love, of course, with Shima-kun, the hot bad boy or whatever, the really nice guy she likes. And not to spoil too much here, because I want to watch the anime, right? But Shima has like a tragic backstory, right? He was an actor, something bad happened and so on. And he's used to kind of like giving up, right, But the main character in this anime, why she's socially awkward and has a lot of social comedic situations, right? Similar to Butchie, or the Butchie, or etc., right? The Sendu Girl and so on. However, this main character gets up again, right? She's like, oh, I can do it! Yeah, she's like... So actually, I think that's a huge thing why I really like Skip to Loafer, because the main character in this show, yes, again, she's social anxiety or whatever, but she actually doesn't have social anxiety. She's just socially inept, right? But every time she gets beaten down, right, by bullying or someone's mean to her or whatever, like some girls complaining to her, not being a good advisor, helping them out and so on, she's just like, well, I can do it, I just gotta work harder and so on, right? She wants to be the president and so on. So, yes, she has social awkwardness, right? But I feel this anime, honestly, is the best, most like realistic social issue anime, because she clearly has social lacking skills or whatever. She lacks some social skills, right? But she actually kind of learns from it every time. And instead of having a character development where she goes from, like a hikamori, I can't go outside, I have no friends, I hate life, whatever. This main character is full of life. She loves life. She wants to be friends with everyone. She's like, oh yeah, I can do it, she can do it. She can do everything, right? But she's kind of awkward, right? She's too into it. She's clumsy or whatever, right? And then her development is more like learning how to maybe be a little less aggressive, right, with her friends, be a little less like, sort of being like, she might be like, hey, a little more, like that. And also reading people's skills, right? Because while she's very into getting friends and so on, she's very good at understanding dynamics, right? Or she gets bullied by some of her classmates, doesn't even get it, like she's kind of lost and so on, yeah. So again, her development is more than that. Her development is like learning how to increase her social skills, right? And then, be less awkward or whatever. But I really do think it's more natural, right? Because she isn't going from like minus 1,000 points. She's more going from like 50 points out of 500. And, it's like going up there, right? But again, in every other part, she actually is more of a normal, teenage girl, right? It's like, yeah, I want to be famous. I want to be this, yeah. So I really like that anime. I think, honestly, she's like one of my favorite characters in a long time, I feel, in slice of life shows, yeah. Because usually, these like, I don't want to shit on Butchie or whatever, but since maybe 3-4 years ago, these like social anxiety comedies has become almost the main thing to go to, right, We have those ones, or we have the bully one like nagator over there, where it's like, senpai kohai relationship, also very common in romcoms. Yeah, those two. I have my, of course, Uzaki Yes, I mean, I love those two. Don't get me wrong, I love Uzaki, I love Nagator, you know, you see, if I'm one Mike, see Nagator there, you know. So, I love those shows, don't get me wrong, I love the shows too, right? But I feel it's either those two comedies where it's like, okay, the girl is completely, you know, crazy, has many issues, or it's like super mean, kind of, you know, spirited, and it's funny, right? But this one is more like an actual, like, I keep saying it, a realistic issue of social skills, which is like, no, she actually really wants to be friends with people, she just sucks at it. But anyways, that's the first thing I really like with Skip to Loafer, and it's really been like my wholesome, sweet show going back to. And let's talk about some more part of Skip to Loafer, but I think that the other thing I would say number 2 here then why I love this anime is because every goddamn character is so likable too. Let's go through some of the characters, but yeah, they're all goddamn likable, right? First of all, the main character being so... actually, I really like it, right? Main character, yes, she has social skills that are very, very lacking, but she actually isn't like anxiety. She makes up for it. She improves, right? She's actually like an extrovert. She's like, I want to be friends with everyone. She's almost just too genki, right? She's just, you know, inept about it. And grows from that, which I really love, right? Me, basically, lovable main character. Then my second favorite is actually the popular girl. Now, but I really like this thing, so... In this anime, right, you got her friends in your class, right, and this character is like, she's too attractive, no one likes her, but she's a super sweet girl. I love it, like last week, she basically makes this painting, right, you know, like this beautiful painting, but she's like the hottest girl in school or whatever, so every guy is like, oh yeah, great painting, wanna be my girlfriend? She's like, no, yeah, like no one, you know, is like approving of her painting, everyone just wanna smash her, right? I think she's like a great character, and how... One of the older friends then, it's like, first doesn't like her, right? One of the older friends, because she's just like, no, but she's the older girl, yeah. She's just like, no, she's just too hot. She's one of those mean girls, right? But she's actually the sweetest girl ever. I love it. Like every character's got them likable. Then we got Maki, which I also think is like a really good character, because she's also likable. She goes as an antagonist to the main character, right? Because she's like the girl that wants to have her boyfriend, and she's into all this, you know, fashion and stuff, right? But actually, she's quite like the, you know, she's more like insecure, she used to be fat, and I think it's really funny because every scene, she like dresses up, buys expensive clothing, right? And for example, the main character's aunt now is like, oh, she really buys expensive clothing and so on, right? Shima-kun is like, oh, that's a really expensive, so everyone's kind of nice to her because everyone kind of, not the main character on the group, but everyone else kind of knows that, oh, she's like wearing really expensive fashion and so on, so everyone's kind of compliment her on that, so it's just so sweet, man, everyone kind of figure out that she's really trying. She's really, really trying, you know? You gotta have it. Every cat's anime is so likable. I think that's a massive thing for it. And then, you know, the older supportive cast, the boys in the class, they're pretty nice too, right? So, it's like a really wholesome, just likable anime. Sure, as you see in the last episode, a little build up, there is this like dark past of Shima-kun, right? As an actor girl doesn't like him and ruined her life or whatever. So this one character is like mean, but you know, 99 of the characters are very likable, like the president, and yeah, all of them are like a school president, But so that's number 2 then, right? Every goddamn character super likable, except that one evil mean girl there. But you know, you have to have some antagonists, right? And then thirdly, then the actual romance, like I said earlier, I think it's really good too. Skip it over because. Well, the main character is super awkward, right? But because she's always like getting up against a man, she's kind of like, oh, I can do it, you know? She gets up again, right? With her boyfriend, then, so to speak, he's like, life sucks, you know? He's like very popular, he's attractive, he's famous, but he's just like, life is bad, no one likes me, I don't want to try, right? And every time she's just like, oh yeah, but I can still do it, you know? He's like, well, you know, yeah, like it inspires me, right? So their romance makes a lot of sense because even though he's the, you know, hot, popular guy, right? She's kind of like the awkward doof girl. It makes sense because they actually have quite the opposite personalities, right? You know what I mean? Opposite attract. But basically, all of her strong points of personality, right? Like her grit or whatever, right? All of that stuff that she's, you know, her powerful personality traits that makes her a better person, so big, right? Those are the personality traits that he wants to have, right? So I think he can really see a lot of light in her, right? So that's really fun. And then, of course, otherwise, and on the other side, she's, again, quite socially awkward, right? Not anxiety, he's awkward, incompetent, right? But he's very competent, he's manipulative, he knows exactly things on. So she can learn from him, right? She likes his, you know, he can understand the room and everything, right? So they kind of complement each other, right? Like they have, like together, they become one full thing, right? Because if you combine their skills, then they're a very talented person, right? So that's great as well. I like that. So I really like the dynamic. They have the best opening too, right? Yeah, the opening is so good. Easily the best opening season, yeah. Skeep to Loafer opening is amazing. But yeah, they have a really good dynamic of the main romance. And like I say here with Mika, I like her too. She kind of is the side girl, like, oh, I'm trying to get something, and you know, it's kind of cute, yeah. Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned then, the other character likeable so what, and we see how they grow to each other. So not only is the main character developing or whatever, right? But it feels like basically every character, like all her friends, you know, her besties around her, right? They're also growing. Yeah, okay, this girl, like I said earlier, she doesn't like this other girl because she's popular or attractive, right? Or she's probably a mean girl. This girl has trouble getting, you know, being friending nerds or whatever. So, I mean, you know, so they're all also improving, right? It feels like almost every character in her friend circle has, actually, I think a lot of development, yeah. It feels like almost everyone that is in the center of the anime has a lot of development. I guess you could argue that, like, the only character that has screen time, doesn't have development, are basically like the guys in the class that are still kinda on their parties or whatever, but they guess they kind of static, I guess. But every other character really has a lot of development, so that's something I really like in this anime. For example, the shit on Butchie or whatever, 'cause I really like Butchie the Rock, right? But for example, in Butchie, I feel like Butchie has this massive development, right? Because she has social society, Hikamori, right? She got like a 1000% point development, right? But I feel that all the other girls are basically the exact same person with stars, right? Sure, one of the girls has to learn how to play the guitar, but otherwise they are the exact same personality. That I think is probably true for like Sindru Girl or Hito the Butchie or whatever, where Hito the Butchie is another anxiety girl, right? Yeah, we also had names, also Butchie then. And that shows that in there, she has to grow a lot, and all her friends, the Ninja Girl or whatever, they're all kind of the same, right? You know, they're kind of static. So I think that also where Skeep to Loafer feels more like maybe something like Horamiya, for example, in the anime, where you have the main couple, Horamiya. Horamiya, I would say, is better than that. Horamiya, you have the main couple, right? The two romance. Then basically every other character also has a romance. So Horamiya is interesting because Horamiya got like 10 couples, right? And every goddamn other character also dating or doing it or whatever. So that anime is a lot like, that anime has almost too much characters. It's like I do the right, change the character every episode, yeah. But this anime I think has a sweet spot then, because if you have the main romance, but every other girl, every other female character basically also has a lot of character development, right? But I will say that, yeah, probably the male characters, except of course the main character, Shima, they don't have that much development. It's probably the only lacking, I would say, because I would like to see a little more of maybe those side characters. And then lastly, right, we have the antagonist, we have the main evil storyline in the anime. We have some mean girl, she's against Shima, right? And that isn't that important, but I will say that, you know, it's fine. I think it's good. Like, you need to have some a little bit. It's hard to make a pure slice of life anime, right? Where nothing else matters. It's purely like we go to school, hang out, right? You need to have a little bit of a red line, something that makes maybe the plot move a little more. So that's kind of what that's doing, right? I guess you compare it to like Toradora, for example, right? They have this romance, but they also have a little bit of like main plot with the mom and Miss Evil Girl and bullying, a little bit of main plot, but mostly it's just like a romance comedy, right? So is that better? It probably is better to have a little bit of a red line, yeah. Give me an example. Leave a comment below, guys, if you have one, but I can hardly come up with in my head now a slice of life show that is just purely slice of life. I mean, in recent memories. Obviously, like Lucky Star or whatever is very slice of life. Nothing happens at all. You just hang out in school and have fun time. There's no actual plot line whatsoever between episodes. Yeah, there are a few ones, I guess, but in recent memory, I can't come up with any good slice of life show that has like no main plot. We also have Do It Yourself, but even Do It Yourself, they all have to build like, they have to build this tree house together, right? Yeah. So this is a main plot. All the girls have to come together, get money and so on. So no, it also need to be a main plot. And honestly, that is probably an improvement from what I would say when I grew up with anime, like 20 plus years ago. Because then I think that more of these kind of genre actually didn't have any plot. Like they were just existing, right? You might have a romance or romcon or whatever, but I mean, it was like no actual episode. You could basically watch episode 7 and then 11, and it wouldn't be any matter. Nothing in between happens anyway. I mean, it's just the exact same plotline. So, but I think that's probably an improvement, right? That even if this little bit Shima doesn't want to be in theater, this mean girl or whatever, if even the plot is moving very slowly, there's a little bit of a red line behind all the comedy and awkwardness or whatever, and it probably makes it better. I guess like in Butchie, you know, they have the main plot of her actually becoming famous, right? So there's just some side story that has to happen, right? And that probably makes these shows better. What do you guys think? But I think so, because even though I have a love Lucky Star, yeah, there is like no plot in Lucky Star. They used to have like, oh yeah, I wanna play video game. It's like nothing in between, right? There's no like episode. You can really watch it at random. Completely. One thing I will say though, which shows like, because I love, okay, so you know, Nishio or whatever. One thing I will say though, Nishio, Lucky Star, etc. Those shows that are very, very random. The advantage, I have to say, which this show doesn't have though, to be fair, right, is that you really can watch like episode 10 of Nishio Everyday Life, you know, and just be like, oh, it's just like the principal is fighting a deer and he's throwing paper or something, and you can really just jump into an episode at random, you know, a clip or something, and just laugh at it and be like, yeah, that was crazy, and then the next episode. So that's the advantage of those really, really random shows, that they're so random that you can easily pick it up at any time. Where this show actually has a little more plot lines, a little less of like, you can't just jump into episode 10 or 11 and just skip over all the episodes. But almost, I feel, almost, because there is a lot of this anime is good though, it's really good, yeah. So because of the development per character, you can't, yeah. It's more that, like I said, it is not necessarily maybe the main plot, but it's probably more that these girls and every other character are developing so much from the personalities and how they have their dynamic with each other. That's why you can't jump into it, because now they're besties, right? They hated each other, or she hated her. She was like, oh, do you want to be your friend? I want to be your friend, you know, for the first episode. So that's probably, I feel, more why you can't jump into it. And the actual thing about it, what this anime is great, because, again, you know, I like the story and so on, but the dynamic between the cats, Kunata and other characters, Kikami and so on, is the same in Lucky Star, yeah. They never change the dynamic. They have the exact same dynamic between the friends, episode 1 to 25. There's no dynamic change there, right? This anime, I feel like almost every girl has a dynamic change, how the relationship are different and so on between each other, right? Not just between the main character, but also between the other girls and the teachers or whatever, and, you know, other characters in the show, and her, like her aunt or whatever, yeah. They all have different dynamic like that, so that actually makes it, you know, again, back to that point that I feel that it's a great show, because everyone is like dynamically changing and whatever. But yeah, that's a Skip to Loafer review, guys. Been great anime. I haven't reacted to it, right? I started watching it. It's been like not my secret pleasure, but a little bit. On Tuesdays, I'm like, I'm just like, it's like, this is like a really good. Sometimes really good having this wholesome anime, watching it by yourself, he's being like, oh yeah. It's like my shield. But anyway, just grab something and see you guys and have a great day.